E-Rule, I see you. Die hard. Trap. We gonna do this one the right way. We in here forever. Yeah. Die hard. Homie, die hard. You can check the swag, he the realest by far. Swimming in that blue and orange, he the lifeguard. Yeah, he been through pain, at least he got some nice scars. He can smell the trophy, yeah, he need it back to back. Represent himself, his own name is on his back. 10 toes down, try to stop him, he come back. Bandwagon hoppers, he will knock you off your tracks. You ain't saying nothing, Nero been here from the start. He been working in the lab to take his team and make it art. See him going over film to help him build and make him smart. He will tell you how he feels because he's real and he got heart. He will never fade away, he will never change his face. Everybody picking faves, and he's feeling out of place. Cause he is for the team, man, he always rep the squad. Like that Christmas movie, he gon' always die hard. City on my back. They ask me what's my name and it's on my back. I'm just speaking facts. We got big dreams, we ain't looking back. We be really die hard, yeah, that's a fact. We be really die hard, ain't no going back. Make the whole crowd rise like a thermostat. Fourth quarter, I'm the killer that's gonna murder that.
Bang, bang. What's good, guys? It's your boy E-Rule. Knicks podcast, back again with another podcast, man. I'm going to be cranking these things out all week like I'm crazy. I got nothing else to do. Right now, it's like 70 degrees in New York City, and I'm here talking with you guys, man. So what's good? Hope you guys are enjoying the day. Playoff time's coming, man, so we got to get these bars out. I hope you guys enjoyed that the intro. I know Andy's waiting in the back, so that's sport alert, man. I got Mr. Andy, International Andy in the back. What's good, man?
What up, Hero? Happy to be on with you. Long time no see.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Did you see that intro, man? Have you been on since I've put the intro on?
Yo, of course I saw the intro. What are you talking about, bro? It's like it's been on like at least half a year. So yeah. But yo, I got a question about the intro though. Is that you and the masked man dancing on the court?
No, it's not. No, it's not. That guy is actually closer to you than he is to me. He's like I got somebody from Europe, some dance troupe from Europe. They have a thing with those masks. They have the mask and they have like this thing, but they're pretty good. There's a whole crew of them, and they all do like they have their own little special thing. But one of the guys was able to, get a little. It was actually a personal dance to the song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I was really
that's cool. That's cool. I was thinking you can bust a move. So
not yet, man. I'm trying my best. I weighed the last time I weighed myself was 250, man. Before like let's say like this. When I first met Sim, I wasn't doing YouTube yet. I was $180 when I met. No, excuse me. I was like 190 when I met Sim. So 60 pounds. I gained 60 pounds since the first day I met Sim, before YouTube.
Bro, that was years ago though, right?
Yeah, that was years ago. You gotta blame it on COVID, man. COVID messed everything up for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not gonna lie, it's true. I'm actually putting my weight in the calculator, so I can tell you how much I weigh now. Just let me see these because I never knew how to translate these things to pounds. Let me see how much I weight. Yeah, I'm barely 200 pounds, so that ain't that bad.
I'll tell you, like 6 something.
Yeah, 6'2".
Okay, so that's good. 190, 6'2". That you're like in high school
NBA form, right? NBA form.
Hell yeah. You still play, man?
Listen, nowadays I'm coming back on the court, but I got like two how do you call those knee braces? Knee braces, yeah. I got one new one, so because I got one ACL lacking in my knee, I tore it twice, and I think the healthy knee is bothering me more nowadays than the bad one. So I think it's something wrong with that knee. But yeah, listen, as far as I can go straight up, defense, already everybody knows that, I don't move sideways. So with those knee braces.
Yeah, I got you. But the good knee that you have old man problems in that one, man. That's just
looks like that. And I ain't even 40 yet.
Jeez, man. Well, I'm a little a couple years above 40, man. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of fighting father time, but I kind of want to get back on the court this year. I'm losing, I'm working out, losing weight. I'm trying to run the New York City Marathon. So hopefully, hopefully I can get back on the court. And just I don't know about impressing anybody or talking any shit, but maybe just being like the ref on the court, keeping the score. Then that guy.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody knows Andy is way over there. Look how far Andy is from the United States. As you can see, that right here on the left hand side, for those that know geography, that's New York City that's highlighted right there. And on the other side here, in red, that's where Andy's from in Poland. And so this is a long way here. I know we talked about your fandom and stuff like that, but every time I talk to you, I just can't believe the distance and just how far you are from the States and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, in flight hours, it's like 6.5 hour one way and 8 hours the other way.
Okay.
So yeah, and actually, my parents are going to New York tomorrow, just for a couple of days because they got some paperwork to do, accounting and stuff like that. So they
Okay.
just got to fly, back to New York for a couple of days. So maybe they're gonna get me a Knicks t-shirt or something like that.
Well, you got to make your way up here, man. Everybody will be so happy to see you, man.
Listen, next year or the year after that. Next year, I'm going to be 40 in August. So I hope my wife is going to be, I'm going to tell her, like, listen, I don't want any party, nothing like that, because the 40 birthday here in Poland is like, it's like sweet 16, something like that. I don't get it. Why it's like, for me, the age is just a number. But listen, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to, tell them, listen, just get me, chip in one ticket. I'm going to, get my tickets for the next games. And, I'm just going to fly by waiting for the schedule to drop, see when the 5 game home stretch is going to be on. And I hope it's going to be like in a not Christmas, time. So the tickets aren't going to be crazy for the flights.
Right.
So I hope it's going to be a good time. And listen, I'm gonna come by. It's gonna be at least like a week or 10 days.
Okay.
So yeah, oh bro, I'm gonna spend all day on the streets of New York looking for you guys.
You won't be looking. I'll be standing right on your back. Yeah, we're gonna be right with you the whole time, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think a lot of people will. Everybody's excited to meet you, man. But before we get started, we got some other guys here. We got the Brew Crew. This is the morning crew. This is Mr. Phil here. Phil from the morning Brew Crew here, man. These guys are dope. Shout out to
yeah.
them, man. Taking a look and see what's going
I
on over here.
promised them I'll visit on their podcast, and I'm keeping it up, bro. Guys, we just gotta set up a date, and I'm gonna be there for you.
Yeah, definitely. They do a good job, man. They have a good three-man crew. Listen, I'm by
Yeah,
myself, so it's very, very difficult for me to get this stuff going. But I'm trying to get the juices flowing again because for those that on the channel, that I've had problems with my kids. They've been in and out of the hospital and all kind of stuff. I've been sick too, so it's been kind of crazy. But right now on a 70-degree day in New York City, I'm here talking to fucking Andy. You know what I'm saying? So it's back on and popping right now. So shout out to Geraldine. We got I am Jarrell. Who else we got here? We got a Harlem CEO here. Yep, Harlem CEO. Worldwide L. Quite a few people here, man. So that definitely pretty cool to see you guys, man. But let's get into some NBA action, man. So what's I know you're all over there in Poland, man. So what's the temperature over there in Poland? What was the expectations for the season? Nick, focusing on the Knicks, but just overall, what was the expectations for the NBA season, if there was any?
yeah. Well, listen, I'm gonna be speaking for myself. I think I'm kind of different than all these Knicks fans here in Poland. Nah, no offense to them, but yeah, but I think I was cautiously, maybe not optimistic, because optimistic, I would say probably 40 wins right before the season. I think if I'm correct, I said that it's going to be below 40. So everything above it, I'm happy with it. I'm surprised positively. So that's great for me. And I tend to do this in my life, in my real life too. I have lower my expectations, so I'm going to be a happy man walking the streets.
I have to look it up, but I think me and State both agreed that we were going to win 47 wins. I think we got it right on the head. But I don't have time to look for it. So anybody else wants to look for it, you can go ahead. But right now, I'm just going to pat myself in the back saying that I predicted the Knicks win-loss record, man. But here goes the Athletic. The Athletic, they were right on, like, kind of close to you. They said the Knicks were going to win 39 wins.
Yeah.
So that's about right. But look at some of the teams that are ahead. You got Chicago Bulls, Atlanta, uh, Toronto's up there, Brooklyn is up there. So those are the expectations at the beginning of the season. Those guys dropped to back to all the way. Some of them all the way to the bottom of the league.
Yeah, that's true. And listen, it's like you said. I think the ESPN guys, whatever guys, the pros and the bookies that's supposed to know a little bit more about the NBA than we. I think they also get things sometimes wrong, right? Nobody's perfect, and listen, it's sports, right? Sometimes it just clicks, and a team is on a roll. And like I said, I remember I told Sim after our first winning streak, like it was like 9, right? I was like, man, I'm happy I lived to see this, man, because I didn't think this is going to be happening in my lifetime. Then again, they were on a losing streak, and then almost the same thing on a winning streak. So I was way surprised about that second win streak. Um, and I'm actually not going to say that they are streaky. I think we played more close games throughout this whole season than last couple of seasons together. 2 years ago, like a year season ago, we were tending to get blown out or we blew out teams. This year we're like, okay, we ain't gonna blow you out by 20, but the game is gonna be close. The difference in the winning is gonna be like 10% plus 10 points plus 10 points minus, right? It's not gonna be like that huge stretches. Of course, there were games that we blow someone out and we get blown out, but it wasn't like every fourth or five games, right? It was rather close games, and that made this team competitive. They knew that wasn't the if it wasn't for some minor injuries to the guys that were out for Mitch and those guys, we would probably get a couple of wins more. But still, just being close within these games, it's totally different to watch a game when it's not a blowout. Either way, right? So
Yeah.
I was happy to watch some great quality and competitive basketball throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, you talk about the wins, at least five. I can count. I can speaking of Chicago, there was a Chicago game I think that was like really disgusting. That we should have won. A couple of games recently that we should have won. So easily, I want to say we could have won 52 games. So in my heart, you being a Knicks fan and whatever, just watching these games night in and night out, I feel like that we're like what do you what do you want to say, like a trophy, or like a imaginary 50
Yeah,
win team, so
yeah.
that's how I'm looking at it, you know. So one prediction I want to look at here. I'm looking at the Bleacher Report. So this kind of made me laugh here as I scroll down here. The Brooklyn Nets 55 plus wins. That is incredible to me, man. What do you think about all that stuff? Because I mean, this league is more like a superstar league. They more looking at whoever got the most superstars. Those are the teams they're going to talk about the most. But pertaining to the Knicks, the Knicks done had like 4 or 5 different teams in one season this year. What you talking about, that first 9-game winning streak? We won it with defense. The second one we won it with offense. So
Yeah. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets as a whole organization, it's a circus for me because they got the superstars, but we saw how that worked out for them. And not like I knew that it's gonna happen, but I kind of expected that sometimes those egos don't mesh well. Guys tend to play hoops in the summer, and that's totally different than playing throughout the season, practicing every day and stuff like that. Those gym runs, pro am leagues and stuff like that, it's totally different for these NBA guys than a full season with each other on the planes, on the roads, practicing a couple of times a day. It's totally different. And listen, I think the egos of the guys that they had in Durant, even Harden staging, a little bit further back, Simmons, Kyrie, those are, for me, those are guys that aren't great teammates in wise, like as far as basketball goes, right? Because everybody has flaws, but I think, for a longer time of period, it's hard to play with a guy that's going to take most of the shots, or that's not going to defend, or that's, gonna play his game no matter what, and put himself above the team. And I think those guys, every one of those guys, actually tended to do that. Maybe Ben Simmons a little bit less because he wasn't that kind of scoring machine. But I think, from his past, him not playing because of this, that, it also hurted the team. And I think, his teammates were frustrated with him. And you could see that, in how they, were, talking about him and stuff like that. I don't feel that he had the support that he's supposed to have. Then again, he didn't, give all of himself to the team. And I think that's a huge problem in current days. Uh, like on the Knicks, you see that everybody on the team is basically giving everything for the team. I have a couple of guys that I could note that, not always do that, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
Well, Knicks agendas, narratives and stuff like that. The Knicks don't have agendas on their roster. Most of them are family
Yeah.
men. The only person that I could think of that would quote unquote have an agenda maybe is Obi Toppin, because he doesn't seem to play hard until Julius Randle's out. Once he's out, then he's like, okay, there's nobody to sub me out, so here I am. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna play hard now. So that's the only real drama that we have with the Knicks. But as you mentioned with the Nets, you got Ben Simmons has his camp, where he just not going to play. I don't know what's going on with him. I think the guy, he might just be trying to play out his contract. That way he can just go back to Australia and live his life. You know,
Yeah.
uh, guy
On a
like
ranch.
Harden, Harden wanted to hang out with rappers and he wanted to do this, then he wanted to play his style of play. Nobody else. Kyrie is out there burning sage and all kind of stuff. So, and plus Durant wasn't supporting anybody but himself. So, when you have that many personalities on one team and not anybody doing the dirty work, this is the issue that you have when you have these type of
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
like you said with Obi, Iru, I think he might have been the guy that would probably tend to have the problem on the Knicks, but I think his character was so smooth that he was like, I'm not gonna even tell anyone, like my best teammate in quickly probably or someone. I'm not gonna even say a bad word on Julius or on to IQ or someone else. I think he's such a good guy, like in person and as a teammate. He's one of those guys that he can't do anything wrong, right? So that's why we didn't have the problem. Imagine a guy like, if he was kind of, like Kyrie, he would be, like, listen, I gotta get mine. If don't get mine, I'm gonna be mad and stuff like that. We saw flashes of that kind of selfish thinking, let's say that way, from Mitch, right? He was, I'm running, just doing cardio and stuff like that. I ain't getting passes, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's still acting as a pro, and he might be a little bit mad, a little bit frustrated, but we don't see it boiling over throughout the media and in interviews. He's not saying it straight out, right? So
right.
that means, depending how you want to take it, you're going to take it. But I think he would be probably the guy that's most frustrated, but on the good side of the whole team. I don't think he's just causing problems and like you said, having agendas versus the team.
Right. So, I hate to jump into the off season, right? But just to touch on it a little bit, like, what do you do about players like that? Because Obi Toppin, like you said, he is a nice guy. He fits. He's not disrupting the chemistry. There might be stuff going on behind the scenes, but it's not enough to disrupt what's happening with the Knicks. Because the Knicks, no matter what happens, we always play hard. We compete against everybody. So what do you do about teams like this? Because like you're a business owner, so you have employees and that type of thing. So when you have someone that has a good heart and this type of thing, but let's say he just doesn't fit what you're doing or his work, not to say work ethic, but he just does he's not doing his job the way that you want him to do it. But he's not a beautiful person, So what do you do about that as far as like going forward and building your team?
Well, sometimes it's, for me at least, from my point of view, and just sticking to basketball even, I think Obi could probably be the moving piece in this off season because he's looking for an extension. I'm not sure what number he is looking for, but I'm not paying him huge, bucks for being a bench guy that's going to play like what 20% of the time on his position.
Yeah.
So he can be the best player, the best teammate on the court, but he can get more money or like similar numbers to a guy like Julius or a guy like that gets you the points and even more things, right? Of course, you can give that, position to a guy like a Theo Pinson, the 14, 15 guy on the roster that's going to be a great teammate. He's going to be joking around, keeping the whole environment around the team happy and stuff like that, pulling jokes, pranks, and stuff like that. But I'm not sure that Obi is the guy that's also going to command a huge salary. Uh, my question is, just give him the offer that you should give him, that you feel that is, maybe not safe for you, but you're not overpaying him, or you're not feeling that you overpaid him. Because even if he wants to, bounce or wants to get traded, it's going to be a way easier deal to move than if you pay him 20 million, right? I don't think he deserves 20 million. I don't think he would ask for 20 million. But you never know what's his idea going to be. He can say always, listen, when I was starting, I got this and this kind of numbers. But question is, are you going to start or on any NBA team? Probably not. There's probably like what, two, three teams that would start Obi, and those are teams that definitely not going to go to the playoffs. They're just going to be tanking the next season or two, so he can stat pad his numbers up. But then again, question, for example, I don't know, maybe because I'm almost 40, I would rather be second tier guy, like third tier guy, or even just getting rotation minutes on a team that is winning. And I'm not saying just looking for a chip, just that is winning, instead of playing major minutes for a team that's tanking or is literally worse in the league, right? So this winning culture is something bigger than money, at least how I would value it. And listen, throughout his career, he's probably gonna get what, around 100 million. He's probably around 20 couple now, or even 30. Let's say he extends for 10, 12, max 15 million a year. This next contract, I think, after that, he can still get a good deal and earn around 100 million throughout his career. Iru, I'm not gonna say, because 100 million for me, bro, I will be paying all you guys, like $100 each podcast. So
Yeah, man, if you give me $100 right now, I think I might retire. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
right.
Put the
So
whole
so
100 down
listen,
on a parlay or something like
yeah,
that. See if I can get some money.
yeah, and it's not like me saying that those guys are greedy and stuff like that. But listen, 100 million or 105 million, let's keep it a buck, right? The question is, are you really worth that 5 million more? And do you want to be playing on in a bad franchise on a bad team? I think nowadays these players kind of try to understand it, that of course minutes for you for your development is also a thing. But I think Obi is one of those guys that ambition wise, he rather stay in a comfortable place. He's from New York, so I think he's willing to, let's call it, as usual, take a pay cut to be on the Knicks, right?
Mm.
So
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. But the thing about it, like, what is Obi though? Obi's, to me, he's not a power forward. He's the numbers that he's been showing to say he's been averaging, just off the head, he's been averaging like what, 21 points per game or more, whatever, around that boat. 3 point something rebounds and 4 assists. That sounds like a swingman, tweener, shooting guard, small forward kind of a guy. You know what I'm saying? And he shoots the three incredibly well too. 40 something percent. I think right now he's up to like 9 3-point attempts a game. That's a small forward to me all the way. So going
right,
forward, what do you think about that? Or even now, what do
yeah,
you think about?
yeah. Not to mention his physicality, right? His calves are like toothpicks, bro. You can like we saw a couple of games back. He got moved by, who was it that backed him down? Not Drew Holiday. CJ McCollum.
Yeah,
CJ McCollum can back you down under the hoop, and you're like a head higher than him.
that's a problem.
Listen, bro. And fans were asking, "Where's Obi? Why Tibbs is keeping him on the bench?" Listen,
There
if
you
my
go.
son could back me up to the hoop, I would, go home. I wouldn't be even on the court again. So, and I would do it from myself, not that my neighbor saw me do that. So, you
I- If
know,
if my kids back me up, man, they're the dad now. I'll be the kid and
yeah,
they'll be the dad
right.
now. You know.
Yeah, so yeah, so like you said, I think he's small forward as and that's maybe it's hard to say that that's a reach, but I still think that there are a couple of small forwards that can bully him around. So,
So
and I'm not
what's
saying that he has to be the strongest small forward in the league, right? But listen, he can be strong, maybe like but if he could add a couple of pounds on that frame, because he has the possibility. He doesn't have to be that kind of skinny to play in the NBA, and he's fast, he's athletic. A couple of pounds added wouldn't hurt him that much.
Right. So just to add the layer, just a couple layers to it. We just signed Isaiah Roby too. So I like Isaiah Roby. I wish we would have signed him earlier. He would have been perfect power, perfect literal power forward to come, behind Julius Randle. And then once you get Obi Toppin shooting the threes, and now you have RJ. Now you have like a more solid rotation, bench stuff. That he would have added. Isaiah Roby would have added that extra layer. So here's the thing. A lot of people have been talking about benching. Shout out to Josh. He's been talking about benching RJ. So in this scenario, like I would bench RJ in this situation and put Obi at the three, because now you got Julius, Mitch, you got Jalen, and also to this other guy, Quentin Grimes as well. It just spaces the floor out so much more better, especially with the accuracy of his 3-point shot, rather than having RJ there, and doing what he does. What do you think about that?
Listen, I think that people, when they hear benching RJ, they think about it the wrong way,
Yeah.
because what we gotta realize is that this offense is ISO, maybe not ISO heavy, but it tends to go ISO, right? That means that most of the time, Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle are gonna have the ball throughout most of the possession, and they're gonna take the shot, right? What we gotta realize that a guy like Quentin Grimes, a guy like Mitch Robinson, they don't need the ball to be effective. Mitch can rebound and put it back. Quentin can stand in the corner. When he gets the ball, he can take a shot. And that's their offensive game. We don't expect more from it. Meanwhile, with RJ Barrett, we expect that he's going to be having the ball 30% of the time. He's going to be having 30% of the shots of the whole team. And then he's going to score like 30%, which is around 30 points a game for, for the whole team. And that's not true. And we know that RJ Barrett, even offensively, is limited. He can drive to the hoop. His finishing around the rim, not so crafty, not so good shots. He's never squared up. He tends to take the shot while going away from the hoop, which means he wanted to go to the hoop, but his strength, his athleticism didn't get him there. So for me, you can even label it a bad shot.
Yeah.
And we see that he misses him, and everybody's like, "Oh, if RJ can make a three, if RJ can finish around the hoop, what then what is he doing right?
Right.
It's like, I understand that if you have so many possessions. Listen, Theo Pinson in the last Mavs game had a triple double, and he was like, he had the possibility. He got the ball in his hand. He was able to produce, and like he said in the interview, when you get playing time and you get the ball in your hands, you can give a team some numbers. If you're a low efficient scorer, you can get the ball and still not produce the way that the team wants. So,
Right.
and I think RJ is in this position. So benching him means when he goes, and Tibbs is doing this a little bit, he runs them with the second unit. And when he's in the second unit with those guys, he's the main guy, except quickly maybe because IQ made a huge step towards being the third option probably of the Knicks. And he never tended to pass that much, but fans are going to say and bring me up numbers of assists that he has. If he would be passing as what I wanted him to pass, he would average around 15 assists probably. But And we know that he takes bad shots, right? Too, but he makes them. RJ takes bad shots and he doesn't make them. That's the difference. And fans love RG because he's the highest pick since Patrick Ewing and stuff like that. So it's harder. He's like a kid of your, right? You don't want you can bash him whatever, but you still love him the most.
Right. Look at look at
And
look at the screen here. This is a prediction from Bleacher Report. They said that he was going to be the leading scorer of the Knicks. That's just the
yeah,
mentality of everyone that thinks about
yeah,
RG Barrett, and that
yeah.
superstar thing that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, I understand maybe he's gonna, but as I said, Iru several times, I don't envision RJ as the most talented guy on the Knicks. He has the perfect work ethic, but talent and ethic aren't the same thing. Cam Reddish, he was way more talented than RJ Barrett, but probably because of the lack of the work ethic, he wasn't that good. And I remember, fans were saying, "Oh, listen, the first game he scored this and that on the Blazers. The second game, he did this and that, and now he's getting DNPs,
Yeah.
DNPs." And I remember I called someone out on Twitter, and they said, "Listen, he's injured." No, if you're injured, you're on the injury report. That's a totally different thing than being a DNP coach's decision. And last games, we saw from a 15-man roster, they had like 8 people on the injury report. So ain't nobody gonna tell me that he's injured. That's why he didn't play when Kevin Knox got 30 minutes and 30 points.
Right.
So that's the only thing. And RJ Barrett, and I'm not saying that he's not going to be successful NBA player or nothing like that, because we saw, and this is the best example from what I see, Marcin Gortat, dude from Poland, Polish hammer. He had literally no talent playing basketball. He could set a screen really well. He can roll to the hoop. We saw him on Shackleton and Full every one time every 2 weeks
Right.
because he got hit with the ball in his face. He tripped over his feet, whatever he did. But he had a successful career. If I'm correct, it was like 12 or 13 years in the league.
Yeah.
He
But he
played
started
with
in
the
Phoenix, right?
Magic,
He was
with
in
the
Phoenix.
Suns. Yeah, he was in Phoenix,
Yeah.
with the Wizards, with the Magic, with the Suns. And listen, he was a valuable piece. He's one of those guys that don't need the ball on the court. He's gonna be in the five. He's gonna work. He's gonna rebound. He's gonna, not bully guys, but he's gonna set a proper screen and do all the dirty work. And those guys also are, helpful when you're building a franchise. He's not gonna command like 20 million a year. He's just gonna take his 8, 7, 10 million, and he's gonna be a guy that's gonna fill out that roster and those qualities that you need to fill out your team. And I think it's nothing bad. And I'm not saying that he's just going to be a role player by any means. I'm just saying that if he was talented to bring his 3-point shot up, he would need to take, let's say, 1,000 shots a day, right? RG needs like 5,000 shots a day compared to a shooter that can take 500, and their shooting percentage is going to gain, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing with talent. Talented people tend to do things in smaller amount of reps and still learn them
The
compared
e-
to the
you know the
people that don't have that talent.
Yeah, the ego is a motherfucker too, because a guy like Loretta, he's already thinking about the money that he could earn if he
Yeah,
got the opportunity. So when he just got traded, he was talking about fantasy stuff. Oh, I feel wanted. I feel all the stuff that
yeah,
doesn't mean anything. You're working. You actually have a job. This is your job to play
right.
basketball. You know what I'm saying? So he's talking about in fantasy realm. So I mean, in the NBA, you need a skill basically. You need to show them that you can contribute in such a way in order to win. Also, too, like the ego thing, like you can't, like these guys, once they get their money, the ego comes out. Like, shout out to the Brooklyn Nets. They imploded because of all these egos. So like if you want to win, most teams that win, they don't have those type of egos. Like shout out to Robert Ory, like the ultimate champion. He could have made his money, he could have scored his points, but he chose to stay there with the Lakers, stay there with the Houston, stay there with San Antonio, be that backup guy, just because he wanted to win. So it really depends on what type of career you want. And the Knicks are sorting that out now to figure out what kind of guys we have here, and as we're building going forward.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about ego, look at and I remember I had a discussion with Savvy D in our NBK panel chat. I remember when Luca was getting into the draft in 2018, if I'm correct. Um, Salute generation, JL,
Yeah, he's on
those from the
vacation. That
Premier
guy's
League.
in Italy right now. He's my
Yeah.
coworker. He's like flexing right now. So he's closer to you right now than he is to me.
Yeah, yeah, cool, bro. Listen, even looking at Luka Doncic, right? When he before he was drafted, I was watching him in Spain in the CB League in the Euro League. Talent wise, top of the league, top 5, top 10 people in the world that can play basketball. But ego wise, he was I'm not ego and selfishness is totally different thing. But his ego, he was already a superstar in his head. He was talking to refs as a 16, 17-year old. And you could just imagine when he got to the NBA, what's going to be his problem. And I remember telling Savvy that, listen, I think I love the guy because he's talented. He can play basketball and stuff like that. But I knew that this is going to be the problem for Luca. He gets that contract extension before he can see that you need a team to win in the NBA, and that's going to be a problem. He got the money. We see him getting, you see him doing the money sign to the refs. You see him doing plenty of, you could say, bonehead plays and bonehead things. But that's because he has a superstar ego. And I was thinking that nobody can beat LeBron in that case. But Luca is really close behind LeBron, in those kind of things, those superstardom things, in interviews, giving hints that we lost because the schedule makers did, they were thinking that, listen, the world isn't turning around you.
Yeah,
You're just a piece of this league. You don't complain, even if you feel butthurt, whatever, that somebody, you just don't say it. You look like a weaker person if you do that. But listen, sometimes guys that have huge egos, they're still gonna say, and they're gonna try to put the spotlight on everybody, except themselves. And I think building a team around Luca might be easier than building a team around even a Julius Randle and stuff like that. But Julius is going to take half of the money that Luca gets. He's going to leave the other half for the general managers and the team management to get a player around him to help him out. We see the same thing with Dame Lillard, right? Listen, if you Bradley Beal, the same example, if you take a max extension and then you're asking the team, get me a player here, when you know that you took the money that the team could give you help, then why are you even complaining?
right. Exactly.
Yo, Dame Lillard is going to get $61 million in one season. And now he's saying that he doesn't want young guys. He wants, some help around him. He had CJ McCollum for so many years. He had, so many guys around that roster. I understand maybe not perfect players for him and stuff like that. But when you sign that contract that you're going to get 61 million, bro, take that money and don't say anything that you need someone around it. What, you're going to pay him from your pocket?
Exactly. Yeah.
You
That's you gotta
blocked
have
your
you gotta have
you
foresight.
blocked your management to make a move. So now stop complaining and try to deliver. If you can't do it, don't complain that anyone else didn't help you.
Yeah, you gotta have foresight. You're now an accountant. As soon as you sign that money, now you're an
Yeah,
accountant because you have to like look at
yeah,
your roster. If I take all this money, I'm taking a percentage of the salary cap.
yeah.
Essentially, that's what that is. So if you take in a certain percentage, you can't cry that you don't have players. The thing with Luca and say like a Julius, how it works also is that Julius is always in shape. So could you imagine if Luca was in the shape that Julius Randle's in right now? Luca Doncic would be like he literally will be the greatest player in the world right now if he had that type of work ethic.
But yeah,
That's
Iru. But look at the difference even between him and a guy like Jokic. Also, you know, basketball wise IQ. top of the line, right? When it comes to the off season with Jokic, he goes to Serbia. He's riding horses. Nobody knows where he lives and stuff like that.
He has no shirt on 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Luca, he's gonna make the tabloids, work their money. Private planes, drones are gonna get him, smoking something, whatever, on the pictures and traveling to Ibiza with some other people. Jokic, small person, not gonna be showing off and stuff like that. But when the season comes, he's gonna be wearing suits because he says that this is business for him. This is his job. He's gonna be a serious man. No fooling around here. He's gonna try to make everything happen for the Denver Nuggets, and I respect that. No, comparing to what how Luca is acting, complaining to the refs. Of course, Jokic is also complaining. But listen, both guys are getting fouled so many times. When you look at Luca, I think he had like what 18 technical fouls this season, and they weren't for hard fouls or stuff like that. Luca got every of his tech was because of he was complaining and bitching around. So
Yeah. Take a look at this. Dame should have been left, whatever, whatever. But like it's almost like boxing too. Like boxers, they tend to get that extra 4 or 5 fights that they shouldn't have had, and they end up getting brain injuries and that type of thing. They're not the same fighter. Same thing with Dame. When LaMarcus Aldridge left him, when he left, he should have said, "Listen, I need to do something," because once he left, you got to see what they did after. They didn't replace him. They never replaced him. They
yeah.
never replaced that whole dynamic between those guys there. So he should have him and his agent, instead of being quote unquote loyal and all that stuff, it's also that's part of the ego too, that bravado type of thing. Listen, I'm gonna be here. It's like like say like Mob Deep, in one of their songs he said, "I'm gonna live in the projects forever." But now the guy lives in a mansion in New Jersey. Like you know what I'm saying. You got to be realistic, and when you say things, you're not gonna live in public housing forever. You're a millionaire now. You need to go somewhere where you could be a little bit more safer. Same thing with basketball. Bring it back to basketball. You have to see the writing on the wall as a roster. How's the front office building? What's going on around me, and just have that foresight to say, listen, okay, maybe now is the time that I need to make a move, or apply pressure, and to them, to let them know that I will leave if you guys don't do something. Let me throw something at you, man. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. He never got money until after he made his basically I want to say like the last three-peat. That's when he started making money. But his whole career, he never was the highest paid player in the league. So do you think him not getting paid helped him become the Jordan that he was? Because then the rock, I'm saying from the GM standpoint, they were able to save money and stuff like that because they're paying him like a second tier player, but he's the greatest player in the league. So they were able to get more talent and stuff like that. Then also too, just being hungry, the ego, he didn't have the multi-million dollars from the contract. He mostly got it from the Jordan brand. That's what he got the money from. So you think that attributed to him being great?
Well, listen, definitely, it helped him around because in a couple of those games, role players saved his behind. Steve Kerr made that awesome three. They said in the Last Dance that they screwed over Scotty with that contract. He was, mad that they signed him and lowballed him with an offer. But if Scotty left, then listen, that probably there wouldn't be any more championships. He would finish at 3, right? And not at 5, or how many he has? 5, I think, right?
6.
6,
Jordan.
yeah. So listen, you can't win in the NBA by yourself. And I'm not saying that if you have a partner or two, you can't do it, because 3 guys is a little bit different than 1. But you at least need to have pieces that fit perfectly around you. And if that, requires paying them and you're not willing to give that, then you're not being a team player. And I think, that's the problem. Listen, I think if you would, switch Steve Kerr to, I don't know, Jeff Hornacek, that might have didn't work. If you switch Steve Kerr to even a Mitch Richmond, that could have not worked. And all the way around, right? I'm not saying that Luke Longley or Bill Wennington, they were perfect centers for Michael Jordan, but they did their job. They could set a screen. They can, foul a guy when he went to the hoop. They were big bodies under the basket. They could do what was good for Michael to be, playing around a guy like that. role players that could rebound and do the stuff that Michael didn't have to do.
Exactly. Well, the good thing about our Knicks, to bring it back to the Knicks, is that this entire squad, that we have here, they all are built around each other. Like we don't really have a superstar per se. Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are getting close to that title. But just the group, the 9-man group, and even when they add in some of these other guys for injury purposes, these guys are all playing for each other, man. So I think what makes the Knicks good is that we are a team. We're nice tight team. What do you think this team is going to do against Cleveland, man?
Um, I don't want to say it loud, but I really think that we have a pretty good chance versus the Cavs. I'm not gonna lie, they have the length and they can defend in the paint. Meanwhile, the Knicks are one of those teams that love to go to the paint. And that might be one of the battles, the irresistible force versus the immovable object or stuff like that, right? But you can still have an upper edge with a really hot Quentin Grimes. If they pass the ball over and he has a good series, he's going to be making those threes. That can be a game changer. Josh Hart, totally a guy that we were lacking. We were lacking a kind of guy. He might not be the goon that most Knicks fans wanted, but he's the guy that does all the dirty work. And he doesn't have an ego that he needs to take a couple of shots. He's one of the best shooting Knicks from three. I think he's above 500, 50%
51%.
even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
51%.
exactly. So listen, 51%, that would be top league. Probably not because of, he doesn't have the attempts requirements filled, but still, if he's going to be able to take those shots and make those shots, I think Knicks fans are going to be happy and his teammates are going to be way more happier because those kind of guys help you in a series. And for me, I played basketball several years on many different levels. If you know that a guy like Julius, a guy like Jalen, a guy like Quickly, a guy like RJ, they can score, but you're not expecting a guy like Josh Hart to hurt you. But one game he's gonna have 5 or 6 threes, and that can be a game killer for you.
Mhm.
Same with Quentin Grimes. You expect he's gonna make a three, two, 2 threes, maybe 3 threes, but he's gonna make 5. The coach is going to be pissed at you because that wasn't in the game plan. That was the thing that we never supposed to let him have. And I think like the not the first line of the offense. I think that because we have, and it's hard to say a wide variety of guys that can score because this is a 9-man rotation with 2 centers that don't look at the hoop. But still, I think we have a wider variety of basketball players that can score the basketball compared to what the Cavs have.
Yeah, we have 6 guys in double figures. I noticed that the other day. Josh Hart gives us 10. Quentin Grimes gives us 11. Also, basically the interchangeable kind of players. But like you said, everything you said about that, is just incredible the way that we have it. I take it even further. I'm not afraid to say it. I think we can win the championship, man. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of the tight 9-man rotation, the way that we play, how we play hard, a lot of selfless guys and that type of thing. The only thing that we have that against us is what Julius brings as far as his attitude sometimes. If he implodes in the playoffs like that, that's gonna be bad for us, but you know,
Yeah, I'm gonna say that maybe I'm not afraid of Julius imploding in the playoffs because of course the stakes are gonna be higher, the pressure is gonna be bigger, right?
Mhm.
I'm just like because of the situation that happened with Quickly lately, right? And everybody was like, "Oh, that's Julius. What did he do?" and stuff like that. Iru, imagine how would the situation develop if Julius had teammates standing beside him? Like, listen, okay, he's going to complain to the ref. Let me go with him and I'm gonna take over the complaining. So if I get hit by a tech, it's not gonna be Julius's fault. And for example, the Quickly situation, I was totally on Randall's side. Several reasons here. One, let's be serious here, right? Smaller physically person. I'm heated in the moment. He's trying to stop me. I told, and in the video you saw Quentin Grimes was trying to stop Julius. Julius told him, "Listen, I got it." And he went straight to the bench. He wasn't waiting, he wasn't getting between, he wasn't causing all of the drama. Listen, Julius is going. He might do something to the ref. I'm gonna go try to help it and de-escalated whatever the word is, right?
Yeah.
I think that was making the situation look worse than it was.
Right.
Only thing that I could tell about Julius being wrong in that situation, he kind of said, because I saw the quote that he said to the ref, "I'm talking to you." I think, when you're playing the game, I know that you got to kiss the ass of the refs. You can't be talking to him like he's your friend or he's your coworker or he's like, someone below you, beneath you.
Or like
You
he
got to
owes you.
talk to, yeah,
You know.
you got to talk with him properly, expect a respected person, like he's your father, he's your coach, who's you, whatever. Try to go it that way. It's kind of ass licking a little bit, but he won't. If he said, "Listen, I don't know what was the name of the ref, but listen, Mister whatever, right?" He
Mhm.
wouldn't tee him up for that. If you said, "Listen, Mister, I'm trying to explain something to you," instead of "I'm talking to you,"
Right.
it was kind of disrespectful. That's why he got the tag. But going to the escalation where Quickly did with Randall, Randall was going to the bench. Why is Quickly trying to be the hero when the situation is over? It
Right.
was over. Julius was going to the bench and he stood up to him. And Julius told him, "Listen, don't get in my face." He got in his face. And listen, nobody saw that Quickly shoved Josh's hard hand off of him. What was he supposed to do? If I'm heated in a moment, you don't go between me and the guy.
Right.
I'm not going to do anything stupid and stuff like that, because we never saw Julius do something stupid like and hit someone. So he has a longer suspension. If he had that history, that's totally different. You catch him like Jeff Van Gundy on the knee and try to hold him back. But he never did that thing. So, and he's, listen, more experienced guy, first option, being trying to be stopped by a smaller guy, a bench guy, younger kid. Listen, this doesn't make any sense for Julius Man, as a utterly respected man, to be holding back by, you know, a smaller basketball figure in Emmanuel Quickly. If that would be even Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, Jalen Brunson, a little bit somewhere higher in the ranks of the Knicks, cool. Let's
But
let's not be.
the experience is it would be different also because even me, like I say, if I'm arguing with somebody, I can, sometimes I'm usually chill. Shout out to Generation Jail. He knows that I can get a little bit too crazy at work sometimes, especially when people say weird stuff and then you just kind of like snap. The worst thing that you could do is come to me and grab me by my hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna punch the guy, and if I punch the guy, so what? Let it be what it's gonna be. But don't come up to me and try. Get in between is one thing, but don't start grabbing my arm. Don't start holding my hands down and that type of thing, because that escalates things way out of proportion.
Exactly.
And I think that what he did, because he grabbed them and he was leading them to the bench as if they were doing the waltz. That's
Yeah.
annoying. So yo man, get
Yeah.
off me, bro. Didn't I tell you don't
Yeah.
touch me? You
Yeah.
know?
That's the thing that I'm saying. And I see, Francisco saying that Randall hit a laptop.
Yeah.
Listen, again, let's see who was holding the laptop. It was like an assistant coach that was probably like, I don't know how many years younger than him, trying to show him a mistake when he already got the point. Someone told him, "Listen, you did a bad move." It's no point of showing me for the
Right.
10th time that
And
I did a mistake.
who wants a laptop in your face like this while you're
Yeah,
already talking? You're talking about
exactly.
something else, and
And
he still
and
got the laptop in your face.
and listen, guys, I really think that this is getting blown out of proportion. Not, of course, the thing with Randall is, if this is a winning situation, those things don't happen. It only happened in losses, in tight games, when we were down and stuff like that, right? And I understand that that might be a problem. Teams might look to trigger him in games. I wouldn't be surprised if the game plan for the Cavs was, listen, let me give him a chicken wing here, chicken wing there, and stuff like that. But I still think that it's not such a big situation. We saw what Rudy Gobert did. We saw Mason Plumlee do it with Bones Highland. Last couple of days, all of these things happen. Jalen McDaniels broke his hand like Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
It's a regular thing, and I understand it. We as Knicks fans just tend to blow it up and look for the more positive, thing on the player that has a clean slate at the current moment.
Right.
But you never know. And same thing with, listen, Draymond Green, All Star, All NBA teams on his champion, and you think what Jordan Poole had to do in that practice, and even throughout a longer period of time, to trigger Draymond Green like that.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying, "Oh, Draymond Green did the bad thing, that he, got into a physical altercation with him." Listen, if you were able to trigger Draymond Green like that, that would have to that thing was in the air waiting.
Yeah.
It was just ready to blow up. I don't believe that it was like one thing. He had to do something so disrespectful. I don't know if it was some name calling, whatever, jokes, whatever, but it had to be, so hard and for so long of time that it triggered Draymond the wrong way. And I think you, as a teammate, you should know and feel the room out.
Right.
If it's enough, you stop joking for a little bit, you can go back to the joke. If it's, again tense, okay, lay it off. Clearly, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, he got it, his way.
Yeah, as a teammate too, you got to have
Yeah.
responsibility for your players too, because you know the guys. You know Jordan Poole is on his shit. He's talking a little bit too much. And you see Jeremy Green, how his energy, whatever. Listen, guys, it's over. People got to get between. You can't allow the guy to get a beeline, because this guy Draymond Green, when he hit him, he came up to him like this, and he didn't just punch him. He hit him with one of these, one of those like big brother, I'm gonna
Yeah.
slam you to the wall kind
Yeah.
of punches. You know what I'm saying? So that's no good. That's you can't have those things, man. But just to bring it back to the playoffs here, I got the Cavaliers roster. You're talking about bullying. The Knicks like to attack the paint. These guys have length. What do you think these guys are going to do here with Evan Mobley I think the key person here is Jarrett Allen, because I don't think we faced them this year too much, right? This as a
Yeah,
group.
I think we played versus him one game out of four. Of course, he's one of the best, rebounders and shot blockers on the defensive end in the league. Uh, Question is, how the Knicks are gonna fare versus that big long lineup. Like I said, Knicks love to go to the paint. The Cavs defend the paint greatly. Sometimes it can be just a call or two bad calls from the refs early in the game, and they get in foul trouble. They got to sit, and the Knicks have an open route throughout the whole rest of the game. And that's why I'm not saying that the refs are gonna dictate who wins this series or stuff like that. But no, for example, a guy like RJ Barrett, I would rather see him try to work differently on offense, because his drives aren't that confident, and versus guys like Mobley and Allen, that might be a problem, because that might cause many turnovers. And on the other hand, sometimes just attacking these guys is gonna open up other shots for other teammates.
Right.
You don't have, even if you drive to the hoop, you don't have to take the shot in the trees, right? How they say it. So a guy like Quentin Grimes, he can pull from three. Josh Hart can make a three. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, they can all make threes. Question is, who's going to get the some of these calls from the refs, and what's going to be the case on a given night. Because if your team is going to be hot, I think it's not even necessary to drive into the paint versus the
Yeah.
Cavs.
Well, you meant to make the point of driving to the paint. So, the problem with the Knicks sometimes is that we get too deep. Like you're talking about penetration. They always say penetration. It's kind of problematic because I'm about to go there, right? Penetration. Sometimes you don't need to do the full penetration balls to the wall.
Yeah,
Penetration. Sometimes you just need to tickle it from the outside. You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Just come into the paint, tickle it. That's enough to get the big men to react. Once they
Exactly.
react, the reaction is all you need. You don't need them to fully attack
Yeah.
you. You need them just to make that reaction. You know what I'm saying? So once they make that reaction, then you can make those passes to the rest of the team. I think the Knicks do a good job, especially recently, moving the ball around the perimeter. So that's something that's evolved in the last little, maybe I want to say the last quarter of the season. As a matter of fact, as soon as Josh Hart got here, really, we started to
Yeah.
like develop that ball
And
movement thing.
yeah, and Iru, what I can add versus the Cavs in the playoffs, you gotta look for every easy bucket. So every kind of defensive rebound and pushing the pace, pushing the ball up the court like Josh Hart does it, coast to coast, like Obi can do it, coast to coast. I'm not gonna say quickly because quickly doesn't go coast to coast. He stops at the 3-point line and chucks it. But going to the hoop, that can cause disruption through the whole offense. And if they don't feel that they're comfortable in that kind of way that the Knicks attack them, it can be a problem for the Cavs. And I also think on the other hand, of course, the biggest weapon, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, right?
Mhm.
Evan Mobley, not that much. He's one of those guys like Mitch. They just pass a couple of balls to him more than to Mitch Robinson. Jared Allen, not really a threat. So our main guys to stop on the defensive end, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. We know that probably one is going to get stopped by Quentin Grimes. That's why I think Deuce McBride is going to be a huge part of this series if Tibbs uses him early in the series. I think when he throws him, versus either of these guys, he can pick him up full court. He can make them tired. And sometimes that's going to work miracles for you. If a guy's going to be tired when he's coming after the half court, after the half to the second half, it's going to work wonders for the Knicks. And I'm not saying that, he ain't going to get scored on. Sometimes Donovan Mitchell can score 40 and it can still look like he's had a bad game, because he could go for 60 in the amount of shots that he's taken and stuff like that, with the efficiency that he was. So I think we got to stop their backcourt. Only problem is Jalen Brunson isn't one of those guys that can stick with neither of these guys. So no, I'm happy they got Isaac Okoro, which probably Jalen Brunson is going to be on. It's not an offensive threat. He can make a three here and there, but I think he ain't a guy that can win you a game. So stopping the backcourt of the Cavs is going to be key to this series.
Yeah. I think the recently too the Cavs actually did put Okoro on Brunson starting games
Yeah,
and stuff. So I think
yeah,
that's
and
I think that's what they're gonna do.
that's the game plan for most of Knicks opponents. I don't know if you notice, throwing a longer body, probably a wing defender, on Jalen Brunson to stop him, slow him down, and trying to, he drives to the paint, he stops, and he does that pivot and going back, going forward, and stuff like that. If you're bigger, you don't have to jump, and you can still contain it. And containing is what you need versus Jalen Brunson. You don't want to get in foul trouble. You just need to stick around it, make him take a tough shot, and that's the all you can do versus Jalen Brunson. Other thing is that he makes those shots, so that's
Right.
tough luck. But like you said, we saw plenty of teams throw bigger wings, even small forwards at him. He's faster than them, but in a tight NBA defense, it's going to be hard for Brunson to go straight up to the hoop. There's always going to be a big man waiting for him in the paint. And that's where, passing it out to Mitch Robinson is going to be also a key factor, not only from Quentin Grimes or, Evan Fournier, that he's going to get the ball from. I hope, even Julius, RJ and Jalen are going to be able to find Mitch for those easy hoops. Of course, he can miss a dunk like 1 in 20, but he's going to make the other 19
Right.
putbacks or dunks. So
I think the double team, if Cleveland decides to double team, that might throw a wrench in things too, because they haven't really double teamed us a lot this year. Cleveland, they just been kind of just playing us straight up. But if they unleash like a double team, or even like a light press, because the Knicks can't bring the ball up the court. That's another issue too. So all these little things, these little Achilles heels that the Knicks have, if they take advantage of those type of things, the Knicks could be in a little bit of trouble. But you mentioned Deuce McBride. Just reminds me of JoJo English back in the days when this guy Phil Jackson, he said, "Hey JoJo, come over here, go over there and fuck with Derek Harper. We need to get him out the game." So
Yeah,
that's what Deuce McBride needs to do. He doesn't necessarily have to get in a fight with anybody, but he just got to go in there. He just have to
yeah,
get out there and just do
yeah.
his job, man.
Trigger someone.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, man, Andy. So it's great having you on. I gotta jump off really, really quick because I actually got another pod. I got another pod at 5. I tell you, I'm going crazy this week. So I got another pod with somebody, a whole different personality, man. So if anybody wants to hang out at 5 to see what we talk about, that'll be interesting too, man. But gonna end the pod here. Thank you for popping on here. Let me get this here so everybody can see your beautiful face, man. There you go, Mr. Andy. And so I definitely appreciate it. You always answer my call, man. I know I had to hit you before I just randomly go live during the week because I tend to do that, and I don't want you to be in the chat like, "Hey, what the hell? What happened to the call and stuff?"
Yeah, listen, I got father duties also, got to put my kids to bed and stuff like that. So, whenever it's not my day, I'm good to go. So,
So what's going on with you? Because I see you're starting to do just solo pods with yourself on MBK. What's going on with that?
yeah, I started a series that I planned for like 2 years now. I'm going to be doing interviews with fans from around the world, not only from Europe. At the beginning, it was supposed to be Europe only, but I'm not going to be sticking with Europe. I'm going to be, like how Tony, he baptized me with the international Andy. So, so I got to go international, not only European Andy. So I'm going to be having, fans from around the world popping on. I'm gonna have like 10 or whatever questions that are gonna be always the same about Knicks this season, previous seasons and stuff like that. But I'm gonna have an open session at the end where people from the chat, people from the panel can be asked, leave questions for me to ask the guests. And I'm hoping to have all except those guys that run their podcasts, like Victor from Brazil and other guys. I'm expecting to have casual fans that never had the opportunity or are like me back in the day, camera shy, that they never want to pop on a podcast of someone else. Because like you see, I don't want to brag, but probably me, Victor, now Daniel, that's probably most that you see people from not United States popping on these cameras and in these shows, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everybody has, as a fan, they got their, basketball minds, basketball philosophies that they wanted to, share with, but they don't have the platform. A couple of days back, I was watching, and this is hard to say, I was watching a Knicks Nation France podcast. They speak only French. I don't know a lick of French language. So I just popped in, said something in the chat, and they had like 3 people watching the podcast, right? For them, it would be a huge advantage if they pop on my show on Sim's channel, get hundreds of subs from that channel, and even if you don't understand it, just pop in, leave a like, leave a sub. That's going to be awesome for them, as the YouTube algorithms and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
And like I said, several people would probably love to join. I'm going to have, I already have a list of people that I want to talk to. I got to refresh those contacts, make them, the dates work, because, for Victor, we got like a 5-hour difference between each other. I got a fan from Australia, so that's another 7 or 8 hours difference between me and those fans there. So, I got to work, with the schedule here. But even though I hope NBK fans are going to be watching those shows on the replays and stuff like that.
That's what's up, man. So I'm glad you're doing that because we've been trying to get you to do that for the longest time, man. To do
Yeah,
something, man, because you have a good personality. So it's just another layer of what MBK brings. So it's good to see you
happy.
doing that stuff there.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I tend to look like a lazy person. I'm not that lazy. It's just some extra work that I'm really busy around my real life. But yeah, like you said, I'm happy to do it because it brings a totally different dimension for the fans. Because like I said, the main purpose of this show and this series is going to be that the fans from around the world get the opportunity to be on a huge platform that's sim builded, right? Because it's over 22K subs. I think others channel have like 200, 300 subs, and that's looking like it's a huge thing, right?
Right.
And I know that there are fan clubs, fan bases around the whole world that got Nick fans on them. So I think as far as your English isn't that rusty and we can communicate, I think it's going to be a blast.
Well, somebody like me, I'm crazy. I used to listen to Victor's show. I don't know what the hell he's saying, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just listening to it because it just sounds good. Every once in a while, I hear a Knicks word or I hear a player. Same thing with a France. I used to actually listen to the audio podcast for France, just to, just because I'm bugged out, so I just need
Yeah.
something in my ears, you know what I'm saying? I'm just listening to Julius and I know, so, I'm just
Yeah,
one of those guys. So people
yeah,
do that too,
cool. Yeah, but yeah, I'm hoping to get those guys on the next podcast because I had Daniel from Germany. I got a contact with the vice president of the Knicks Nation Germany fan club, but I was like, I'm gonna keep him a little bit over, so it's not gonna be like the president, the vice president is gonna be Germany. I want to go around the world a little bit and then go back to Germany. So I hope to do it that way.
All right, man. Bye. Yeah, man. Good to see you, man. Thanks again, Andy, for popping in. Thank you everybody in the chat for coming in, and I'll catch you guys in like 30 minutes.
Peace.
Peace out. Peace.
Eru, I see you. Die hard. Trap. We gonna do this one the right way. We in here forever. Yeah. Die hard, homie, die hard. You can check the swag, he the realest by far. Swimming in that blue and orange, he the lifeguard. Yeah, he been through pain, at least he got some nice scars. He can smell a trophy, yeah, you need it back to back. Represent himself, his own name is on his back. 10 toes down, try to stop him, he come back. Bandwagon hoppers, he will knock you off your tracks. You ain't saying nothing, Nero been here from the start. He been working in the lab to take his team and make it art. See him going over film to help him build and make him smart. He will tell you how he feels because he's real and he got heart. He will never fade away, he will never change his face. Everybody picking faves, and he's feeling out of place. Cause he is for the team, man, he always rep the squad. Like that Christmas movie, he gon' always die hard. City on my back. They ask me what's my name and it's on my back. I'm just speaking facts. We got big dreams, we ain't looking back. We be really die hard, yeah, that's a fact. We be really die hard, ain't no going back. Make the whole crowd rise like a thermostat. Fourth quarter, I'm the killer, that's